So there's a simple mindset shift that is a key to getting what we want in this world, right? Simple theoretically, but it might not be as simple practically. The reason for this is that most of us have spent so much time in ignorance that actually implementing this to its fullest capacity might not be as simple as it seems, right? But with consistency and with persistence, this shift has the capability to change our lives, right? So to get what you want in this world, or to have your desired reality, it's really simple. And to get what you want, you have to be willing to accept what you don't want in this world. That's it. Now I'm going to break it down so you guys can understand the deeper meaning behind this statement I just said, and why you have to be willing to accept what you don't want in this world in order to have what it is that you desire. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that the things that you want and the things that you don't want, they are really the same thing. And to understand this, you have to understand the principle of polarity, right? So everything in this world has sort of polarity to it, or you could say opposition, but I don't really like the word opposition because it insinuates being opposite, right? But it is the same thing. They are the same things, but they are on different vibrations and different frequencies. I want you guys to stay with me, right? So if you really observe the world, night and day are the same thing, just different polarity. Good and bad are the same thing, just different polarities and different frequencies, right? What else? Life and death, hot and cold, right? They are really the same things, but on different polarities and on different frequencies, right? So whenever you don't accept one, you're denying the other, right? I really want you guys to understand what I'm saying. If you don't accept one end of the polarity, you are denying the other end. And I think a lot of the times when we desire the things that we want from this life, right, we sort of reject or we sort of resist the things that we don't want without realizing that the things that we want and the things that we don't want, they are literally the same things, just on different frequencies, right? So if you really think about it, right, most of us in this world want success, right? Success is accompanied by failure because they are literally the same thing, just different vibrations, right? A lot of us want a good relationship, right? In order for you to have a good relationship, you have to go through rejection, because a good relationship and getting what you want, right, is it's the same thing as rejection, right? They're literally the same thing. The problem is most of us are not willing to accept the things that we don't want, because we, in a sense, we believe the things that we don't want are sort of barriers to the things that we do want, without realizing that the things that we don't want are precursors to the things that we do want, right? So a lot of us want success, but we're not willing to accept failure. A lot of us want a good relationship, but we're not willing to accept rejection. A lot of us want love, but we're not willing to accept the fact that some people might not like us, right? They are literally the same thing. And in order for you to have one, you have to be willing to accept the other. That is the only way. Most successful people who have or who are living their desired reality, right, they completely understand this. They understand that in order for them to have success, they have to be willing to accept failure, right? People who are in good relationships and guys who are good at dating, right, they understand that if they approach that girl, they have to be willing to accept the fact that they might be rejected. You guys understand what I'm saying? They are literally the same thing, right? The problem is that most of us think of them as separately, but they're the same things. And in order for you to have one, you have to be willing to go through the other. That really is it, right? So the simple mindset shift that you guys need to embody, and this is something that you have to implement every single day, right? If you want something, you have to be willing to look at the thing that you don't want and consider them the same thing. And what I mean by that is you have to see beyond polarity and see beyond duality and allow your mind to come to a place of oneness, right? Seeing everything, the good and the bad, right? Which are really just labels that our minds, they're just labels that our minds, right, have, right? For the most part, right? But you have to be willing to come to a place in which you only see oneness. And what I mean by that is you see failure and you see success as the same thing. You see rejection and you see acceptance as the same thing. Now the trick to this, and the trick that is going to change your life and give you what you desire in this world, is this right here. You can only get what you want when the idea of what you don't want, or the things that you don't want, no longer have power over you. Right? Stay with me. And what I mean by that is, if you want success, you have to be willing to look at failure and not allow failure or the idea of failure to have power over you. Right? If you want acceptance or if you want love, you have to be willing to look at rejection and look at people not liking you and not allow it to have power over you. That truly is the key. Because when you do that, you transcend this state of polarity and you allow your mind to come to a place of oneness, which is actually how we're actually supposed to live. Most of us label things way too much, right? Everything in this world that we see as good and bad or whatever is simply labels that our minds label, right? The only truth in this world is oneness. But in this physical reality, our human minds label things as opposition. And most of us spend most of our lives with the idea of the things that we don't want, or we sort of allow the ideas of the things that we don't want to deter us from going after the things that we do want in this world. But the people who are able to sort of manifest and have their desired reality and have the things that they want from this world, they are able to not allow the things that they don't want to have power over them. But this is something that you have to do every single day. Until you can look at the things that you don't want and accept them fully, you can never truly have the things that you do want, right? Because once you resist the other, or should I say this, once you're resisting one of them, you are resisting the other, right? You have to see oneness. You have to see everything in this world working for you. And that truly is the only way you're going to have what you want in this world. And I'm coming to a place in which, like I said, I'm not perfect, right? I don't make these videos to seem like I'm a guru or I know everything. I'm on my own journey as well. And these are things that I had to learn because no one was there to teach them to me, right? Especially if you grew up in an environment that is extremely negative, right? You don't get taught these things. There's no one to teach them to you. But as you get older, you have to seek wisdom for yourself. And through the acquisition of wisdom, that is how you're able to change your life, right? But the mindset shift is simple. In order to have what you want, you have to be willing to accept what you don't want. And you have to come to a place in which you see what you don't want and you see what you do want as the same thing. And you don't allow the idea or the thing that you don't want to have power over you. That's really it. But like I said before, this is something that you have to implement every single day, right? And it's about looking at the things that you don't want and fully accepting them and seeing them as necessary to have the things that you do want. right? So I really hope you guys understand what I'm saying, right? I really hope you understand. And this is something that has the capacity to change your life. First, it's going to rewire your mindset, right? But to rewiring your mindset, that is going to be the key to having what you want in this world, because everything in your reality is simply a reflection or a projection or a manifestation of what you hold in your mind, right? So thank you guys for watching, and I will get back with y'all on the next one. Peace and blessings.